So how long does it take to repair credit? Well, if we just do a simple search on that, we could easily find one of the first things that pops up is the Federal Trade Commission's website. Look at what it says on how to repair your credit. It gives you a DUI guide, but just look at here. It says, do it yourself. Save time and money too. And don't believe those claims. They're very likely signs of scams. Well, first of all, the FTC's sole purpose is to protect you from financial crime, including small to large violations from financial institutions and sketchy credit or debt management entities or scammers. So it's to no surprise that their first impression that they want to create about the credit repair industry is just a bad taste in your mouth. After all, who wants to be scammed out of their money with high hopes to get out of their financial shackles of having bad credit when they're anxious and just searching online for the best company that will promise them the fastest results or seem quite affordable and honest enough for you to buy into their marketing and then being dragged along the process of repairing credit? Why not do it yourself? Seems easy, right? Yeah, just follow their do-it-yourself guide on how to fix your credit on their website, where you can follow all of their steps. So let's go to their do-it-yourself guide. As you can see, step number 1. Remember, we're going to follow this guide and see what it does for us. It says, okay, tell the company in writing what information you think is inaccurate. Use a sample letter to help you write your own. Then send your letter by certified mail. Okay? Credit reporting companies must investigate the items that you question within 30 days. Okay, so I can agree. Let's highlight all this, and just take a look at it. I can agree that if you're going to dispute items on your credit report and write a letter to a financial institution or credit agency, it does make sense that you should do everything in your power to have proof and evidence that you actually mailed the letter. For instance, let's just say I mailed the letter to a typical post without any receipt. Like, let's say I put the dispute in my mailbox and for the mailman to deliver it. What if the mail was lost during that process? What if someone actually reached inside my mailbox and took my mail? Yes, I understand. I know what you're thinking. It will never happen to me, right? Yes, this is all unlikely to happen, but it still does happen. But nonetheless, you still need to prove that you had sent the mail. The problem with this is that the time it takes for the mail to be received is a minimum 7 to 10 days. Okay? And there's no guarantee that it could take longer for your letter, that there's no guarantee that your letters will be received in that time frame. It could take longer. Now let's take a look at what happens when your letter is received. If we quickly check back to the FTC website, right here, I don't believe that they left you any address. Do you see any address here? There's no address. I don't see any address. Take a look. No address. So this is supposed to be a do-it-yourself guide. Shouldn't it have all the proper instructions for you to repair your credit? I swear, a little detail like that can really stop you in your tracks. All right, so I just showed you a small example on how unreliable the government website can be when it comes to repairing your credit. Okay, not a big deal, because we can use Google, our all-knowing, all-seeing best friend Google, and we can just search dispute address for Equifax. You get all of these listings here. Okay. You can do it for TransUnion, TransUnion, what does TransUnion say? It's going to say the same thing. You can send disputes by mail, blah, blah, blah. Oh, my God. Okay. We can go hours and hours to find the right address to send it, but all that time goes down the drain, and there's no guarantee for sure that they will receive it. Let me tell you what will most likely happen when you send it to these departments here. First of all, you begin to send anything to any company, you first need to understand what these companies actually do and how they actually work. There are different credit agencies that their job is to collect consumer data and information to put it on a report. And there are 3 bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. These are all privately held companies that are completely different from each other, although they kind of do the same thing, but they have their own way on doing it. So you can't just approach them with the exact same strategy. Otherwise, you're going to get disappointed. Now back again, what exactly do these financial institutions do? Their job is to collect data to protect banks, to analyze risk in order to maximize their profit and minimize loss. Now here is you with maybe compromised credit report, definitely damaged, with little to no reason why it happened in the first place. There's no information about the car accident that you may have that led to the health emergency or the divorce, or maybe you were just young and irresponsible and now everything has changed. My point is there is no information about that life instance that happened. They don't know why, and that's important because we all deserve a second chance, especially being an American citizen. We have all of these beautiful consumer rights that allow us to rectify these past mistakes, which I will illustrate in another video for you. So again, these agencies use your data to make profit from you, which is a conflict of their interest, to remove the negative accounts for you because they've already analyzed and made a decision that you are actually a risk to them, which is precisely why your score is very low and you still have negative accounts on your credit report. Maybe you have even hired a credit repair company in the past, or maybe you have even followed this exact do-it-yourself guide from the FTC only to find your item is simply not coming off, because the most likely thing that will happen. So with that being said, it's a fair way to say that the information that they get is just to collect it from you, and it's definitely not going to help you. So whatever guide that they have is not sufficient enough for you to repair your credit. Nonetheless, these agencies are funded by lobbyists, i.e. banks, and the government is in bipartisan biased and kind of supportive of them, because let's rewind back to 2007 and 2008 when the government actually bailed out all the banks that actually issued out unqualified loans to people that should have never gotten them in the first place. Was that the bank's fault or the consumer's fault? It's kind of like giving a child a motorcycle to ride when they have no license or never even taken a riding or safety course on how to use that bike. Now let's say they get into an accident. Well, first of all, if they were never given the vehicle to begin with, that would have never happened in the first place. This may not be the best analogy, but I'm sure you get my point. So at this point, I'm sure we understand that you need advice, that the advice that you're getting must come from someone that's qualified, and the FTC is definitely unreliable. And you being at the mercy of credit agencies by certified mail will just take super, super long, and you guys want to repair your credit fast, right? So again, what we have read somewhat first of the FTC's do-it-yourself guide is to repair your credit. Let's go back to when they said you have to dispute your item by certified mail. Okay? Right here. Let's read it. When the investigation is complete, the credit reporting agency must give you the results in writing too, and a free copy of your credit report if the dispute results in a change. If an item is changed or deleted, the credit reporting company cannot put the disputed information back on in your file unless the information provider verifies that it's complete and accurate. Okay, so the FTC's Do-It-Yourself Guide tells you to send your first dispute via certified mail to an unknown address. You guys see an address here? There's no address. So if you get lucky enough to even mail it to the right place, if we go back on Google, that investigation is supposed to take 30 days, right? However, you cannot rely on that number because, like I said, it will take 7 to 10 days for that mail just to be received by the bureaus. And if it gets to the right address, that's the only that department is the only department that receives mail. It's not the specific person or department that would investigate the document. So understanding the exchange and receiving process of these departments is very important, because when you send your dispute, it will most likely take 7 to 10 days. So let's just say 37 days for it to be received by the agencies. Then how long does it take for that dispute to be sent over to the correct department? Then issued back as a formal complaint or investigation to a specific party? That's the question you need to ask. That's why your credit repair is taking so long. And by the way, credit repair companies in the mainstream are following this exact guide, like Lexington Law, CreditRepair.com, Credit Saint, Fortress Credit. They're all following this do-it-yourself guide. They're doing basically what you can Google and do it yourself. And yeah, you can Google a DUI guide on how to take apart a transmission if your transmission fails. How to, a serious problem is not necessarily like an oil change where you loosen a bolt and put a pan underneath your car, right? What if they don't properly tell you how to jack up a car? What if the car falls on you? So you need a properly trained professional on how to do this, or you can just become one. There's no doubt in my mind that anyone can learn this stuff. But if you're going to learn it from the FTC's website, then good luck. Okay. So back again, these are all pretty much unknown and not really reliable enough to account on. So would you really feel comfortable sending your dispute on your credit report like this? I hope not. Now let's go to their final step, okay, which is step number 2. Let's read it out here. Tell the creditor or other information provider in writing that you dispute the item. Include copies, not originals, of the documents that support your position. Many providers specify an address for dispute. If the provider reports an item to a consumer reporting company, it must include a notice of your dispute, and if the information is found to be inaccurate, the provider may not report it again. Okay, here's where it gets a little concerning to me, because they suggest you provide those same agencies, remember TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, those same agencies that are protecting those financial institutions, to share your personal documents, including your identification, your home address, your private contract, or lack of one, so they can share it with the creditor. Well, first of all, don't you think that that's a little bit too much to give, or invasive to your privacy? After all, if the creditor did do business with you in the first place, shouldn't they have those documents to begin with? I'm sure with a simple name and account number, they should be able to find your account if it truly does exist in their records. So if you give them all that information, isn't that their job to do that? But that's right, it's their job, but they're asking you to do their job for them. So it would be easier for them to deny whatever dispute you are going to send them. So you have to be careful of these tricks, because they're setting up these pathways for you to follow just so you can play their game. Remember, you don't want to play their game. Be careful with this trick because there are a lot of tricks that the bureaus use in order to just deny your disputes. And right now we're just talking about the mailing system. We're not talking about online dispute system that, enough people know about. Experian, we can go to this. Experian dispute. You can go online. Don't do this. Do not do this. Okay? Don't do that. Please don't do that. Experian has free credit monitoring that they're giving to the masses of people where they're disputing things online. But that's another topic. I will tell you it's a lot worse than the mail system. Because on Experian, they can collect timestamps, signatures, IP addresses, MAC addresses, and you have to opt into their cookie policy as soon as you go to their website, just so they can spy on you. And we could try that now. We can go to dispute Experian. This isn't the full thing, but you can just type that, it will pop up. Bam, and there's going to be a prompt here, but once you're on this site, they're already spying on you. Let it load. So when you do this, it makes it nearly impossible for you to dispute stuff online. So please don't do that. Okay? All right. So after hearing all of this, you might want to give up on your credit because it seems impossible knowing that the government's do-it-yourself guide to repair your credit is unreliable and bureaus are not designed to help you. It may totally discourage you, but don't lose hope. There is a solution for you. And yes, there is a way you can dispute all of your negative accounts and they be received within seconds and answered in as little as a few days and dilutions within even 2 weeks instead of months or even years. I'll leave a link below in the video on how to exactly do just that. I will also show you the most reliable way to dispute your accounts that will protect your privacy and integrity of your credit report so you don't have to worry about your sacred or private documents being shared with creditors you cannot even trust. All you have to do is just click the link below, watch the entire video, and once you understand our simple formula, I promise you'll be on your way to having better credit. Okay guys, stay strong.